In the dark corners of New Earth, the city never slept. Cars flew past in the sky lanes, screens glowed with news, and humans moved fast, too fast to notice the quiet cries from the lower zones. Down below, far from the clean towers. And bright lights, there was a small alley filled with trash, smoke, and silence. But tonight, something was different. A soft, painful sound came from the shadows. A cry, weak, broken, desperate. No one stopped to listen. Not the officers on patrol, not the people rushing to work, not the robots scanning for crime. They had heard alien sounds before. They had learned to ignore them, but Daniel did not. Daniel was a 24-year-old human. He worked as an engineer in the underground power grid. Every night he walked home alone, carrying a small lunchbox and a heavy mind. His life was simple. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. He never cared much about politics or alien refugees. Until that night. He was walking past the alley when he heard it. A soft voice, like a whisper in the wind. A cry that didn't sound human. It wasn't loud. It wasn't clear. But it made him stop. Daniel looked down the alley. It was dark and dirty. The kind of place his parents had warned him about. The kind of place where aliens hid, begging or stealing just to survive. He should have walked away, but something pulled him forward. He stepped into the shadows, slowly, carefully. The crying grew louder, not angry, not wild, just tired. Weak, like a mother trying to stay strong for her child. Then he saw her. She was sitting on the ground, wrapped in a thin cloth. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes large and full of pain. Her arms held something close, a small alien child, shaking with fever. The child's breathing was fast and shallow. The mother looked up at Daniel. Her lips moved. "Please?" "Help," she whispered, her voice shaking. Daniel froze. He had never been this close to an alien before. Not like this. He looked around. No one was watching. What's wrong with him? Daniel asked, pointing at the child. The mother held her child tighter. "He is sick, dying. No one listens. No one helps." Daniel didn't know what to do. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't rich. He wasn't even brave. But he looked at the child again. So small, so fragile. He couldn't just leave them here. I have a place. Not far, he said slowly. You can come, just for tonight. The mother didn't speak, but her eyes filled with tears. She nodded. Daniel helped her stand. She was weak. The child didn't open his eyes. They moved quickly through the back streets, avoiding cameras and patrol bots. Daniel's hands were shaking. What was he doing? He'd brought them to his apartment, a small room in the worker zone. It wasn't clean. It wasn't safe. But it was warm. He laid the child on his bed. The mother sat beside him, whispering soft, words in her alien tongue. Daniel looked for medicine, anything, but he had nothing that could help. "I'll find a doctor," he said. The mother grabbed his arm. "No hospitals, no humans. They will take him away. They will take us both." Daniel nodded slowly. He didn't understand everything, but he believed her fear. "What's your name?" he asked. "Nira," she replied. "His name is Keel." Daniel looked at the child again. Keel's small chest rose and fell fast. He was burning with fever. Something was very wrong. What happened to him? Daniel asked. Nira's eyes turned cold. She looked away. "They came to our planet. They took everything. Then they left us to die. Keel, he was born after the burning. He is the last." Daniel felt a chill. "Who came to your planet?" Nira opened her mouth to answer, but then stopped. Her head turned toward the door. Footsteps. Heavy boots. Outside, someone was walking. Then a voice called out, "Routine check?" "Open the door." Daniel's heart stopped. He looked at Nira. She grabbed Keel and hid behind the bed. Daniel took a deep breath. He walked to the door slowly, acting normal. When he opened it, 2 officers stood there in black armor, holding scanners. "Good evening," one said. "Seen any alien movement in this zone?" Daniel shook his head. "No, sir. Just came back from work." The officers scanned Daniel's ID. It cleared. "Be careful. We're searching for a female fugitive and a child." Daniel's. Heart raced. He nodded. Of course. The officers walked away. Daniel closed the door and locked it. Nira stepped out, holding Keel close. Her eyes were wide. They're looking for you, Daniel whispered. She nodded. Then she looked at him and said in a voice full of fear, They know about Keel. They're coming. Daniel didn't understand it yet, but this was not just about sickness. This was about something much bigger. And he was now a part of it. The room was quiet, but Daniel's mind was loud. He sat in the corner of his apartment, staring at the small, alien child lying on his bed. The child Keel was still burning with fever. His breathing sounded like soft gasps, like someone trying to hold on to life with each breath. Daniel had seen machines break before. He had seen people get sick, but this was different. This was something strange. The mother, Nira, sat close to her son. Her arms wrapped around him like a shield. Her eyes were open, always watching. She hadn't slept. She hadn't blinked. Much. She was a mother in fear. Outside, the city moved on. Flying cars passed in the sky. Neon lights blinked. No one knew that inside this small room, a secret was growing, one that could change everything. Daniel finally spoke. He needs a doctor. Something is wrong inside him. No doctor, Nira whispered. They will take him. They will take his blood. Daniel frowned. Why would they do that? He's just sick. Nira looked at him. Because he is not like others, not even like me. Daniel moved closer. What do you mean? She held out Keel's small hand. It was shaking. But then, for a second, the shaking stopped, and the air around his fingers shimmered, just slightly. Like heat waves in summer. Daniel pulled back, eyes wide. What was that? Nira looked down. It started 2 months ago. After we landed. After we escaped the ship. Escaped from. Where? Nira's voice was almost too quiet to hear. From humans. Daniel felt a cold weight in his chest. My people trusted humans, she said. We gave them land. We shared our energy stones. Then the fires came. Bombs. Machines. Soldiers. Daniel couldn't believe it. Humans attacked your planet. Not all humans. A company. A name we heard too late. Draytech Industries? Daniel's breath stopped. He knew that name. He had seen it printed on heavy cargo ships that passed near his power station. He thought they just mined asteroids. What does Draytech want with your son? Yes, Nira looked down at Keel. Her voice broke. He was born after the blast. After the burning. His body changed. He has power. He feels things, sees things. Daniel was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, Do you think he's dying because of that? Nira nodded once. Yes, or maybe they made something to kill him. Suddenly Keel moved. His eyes opened, just a little. They glowed a faint silver. Not natural, not sick either. Danger, he whispered in a voice far too deep for his small body. They're watching. Then his eyes shut again. Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. Before he could speak, a red light blinked on his wall. It was from his apartment scanner, a quiet alert from the power grid system. It meant someone had used a deep scan in his area. Not normal. Not safe. Nira saw the light and stood up fast. They found us. No, Daniel said, trying to stay calm. They're just scanning buildings. It's not for you. But even he didn't believe his own words. He walked to the window and looked out. Too. Black drones hovered nearby, silent, watching. He turned back to Nira. We need to move now. I can't travel, she said. He can't breathe in. The air outside. Only filtered air. Human air makes him weaker. Daniel paced the room. His heart was racing. His apartment wasn't safe anymore. But he knew one place that was an old service tunnel, deep below the city. Forgotten by most. Sealed off from the main systems. He had used it once to escape a blackout. He looked at Nira. I know where we can hide. Nira looked tired, broken, but hopeful. Then take us. Daniel wrapped Keel in a blanket. His skin was hot to touch. Too hot. Like a small sun was inside him. As they prepared to leave, Daniel stopped for one last moment. He turned to Nira. What happens if they catch him? She didn't blink. They will take his blood, study his mind, break his soul. Daniel swallowed hard. Then he said something he never thought he would. Not while I'm alive. As they slipped out the back stairwell and disappeared into the dark tunnels below the city, none of them saw the small red light blinking in the corner of the room. A hidden camera, transmitting everything to someone watching from very far. Away in the forgotten tunnels beneath the city. The air was heavy. Cold water dripped from old pipes. Rusted signs point nowhere. This was a place even rats didn't trust. Daniel had only been here once, years ago, when a power station had caught fire. Back then, the tunnels were just old junk space. Now, they were the only safe place for three souls the world wanted to forget. Nira walked silently, holding Keel close. The boy had stopped speaking. He was half awake, breathing slow. Every few steps, Nira looked behind her, like she could feel eyes in the dark. Daniel led the way, using a small flashlight. The beam cut through the shadows, but the darkness always returned thicker, heavier, like it was alive. He finally stopped near a rusted door. He kicked it open. Inside was an old supply chamber, broken chairs, a dusty power panel. Nothing valuable, but it was dry. It was quiet. It would do. We'll stay here, Daniel whispered. Nira nodded and laid Keel on an old mat. She placed her hand on his chest and closed her eyes. Daniel watched her. She was silent, but her lips moved, like she was praying, or maybe talking to someone else. In her mind, he didn't ask. He just sat down and turned on a small fan to filter the air. For a few hours, they rested, but safety never lasts long. Far above the tunnel, in the heart of the city, a man in a dark suit watched a screen. His name was Ravel Trent, head of special operations at Draytech Industries. He was not military. He was worse. He watched the footage taken from Daniel's apartment, the secret camera placed weeks ago in random worker housing. He zoomed in on the blue-skinned child, watched the silver glow in his eyes, watched the flicker in the air when he breathed. Target confirmed. Ravel said behind him. A robotic soldier activated. Send 2 hounds, he ordered. Stealth mode. No mistakes. The hybrid must be taken alive. Yes, sir, the system replied. 2 black machines flew out of a hidden hangar silent. Fast, deadly. They were not drones, they were hunters. Back in the tunnel. Keel opened his eyes, but they were no longer silver. They were glowing white. Nira gasped. It's happening again. Daniel rushed over. What is it? What's wrong? Keel didn't speak, but his body shook. The air around him vibrated. The small fan stopped spinning, and then he whispered one word. They're close. Daniel stood up fast. What? Who's close? Nira looked at him, her face pale. He can feel them. He hears them in his mind. A deep sound echoed through the tunnel. Not metal. Not wind. Something. Crawling. Daniel grabbed his light and stepped into the hallway. Nothing. Then the light flickered. Off. On. Off. A shape moved behind him. Fast. Too fast. He turned, but there was nothing. Then boom. A loud thud shook the walls. Daniel ran back into the room. We need to move. He shouted. But Keel couldn't walk. Nira stood in front of him. We stay. I protect him. Daniel shook his head. No, you will both die. I'll distract them. You run the other way. Nira stared at him. Why would you do this? You're human. Daniel gave a small, bitter smile. Maybe being human is the problem. Maybe it's time to be better. He ran out before she could stop him. In the hallway, Daniel banged on metal walls, yelling, running, trying to draw the hunters away. Behind him, the air seemed to split. A shape appeared, sleek, black, with no face. It didn't walk. It floated. Then another. 2 hunters, silent, cold. They didn't speak. They didn't warn. They just chased. Daniel turned a corner, breathing hard, heart racing. He jumped into a side shaft, pulled a switch, and sealed the tunnel behind him. The hunters stopped. One placed its hand on the sealed wall. The metal began to melt. Daniel whispered, not enough time. Back in the chamber, Nira held Keel close. Stay with me, she whispered. Keel opened his eyes again. Glowing white. This time he spoke in a clear, deep voice. They want my mind, but they don't know what's inside. Then the floor shook. Dot and I looked at him in shock. What do you mean? Keel looked at the ceiling. They think I'm weak. But I remember the fire. Then he raised his hand, and for 1 second, the room lit up with white energy. Far away, Ravel Trent's screen went dark. Sir, a technician, said, we lost the signal. Ravel leaned back in his chair, smiled. It started. It began with silence, not peace, not calm. Dead silence. No sounds in the tunnel. No air hum. No footstep echo. Just stillness. Like the world had stopped breathing. And then from that silence a soft voice came. Daniel. He opened his eyes. He was lying in a service pipe, his arm bleeding, his head spinning. The wall behind him was melted where the hunter had touched. The air smelled like burnt metal. He didn't remember falling asleep, but something had knocked him out. A blast of light. From Keel. Now, only the faint sound of dripping water remained. Daniel? The voice came again. But it wasn't from the tunnel. It was in his mind. He sat up fast, eyes wide. Keel? No answer. Daniel shook his head. No, I'm losing it. He stood and began walking back toward the chamber. He had to find them. He had to know they were alive. But halfway down the tunnel, he stopped. Someone was standing in his path. A man. A human. Wearing a dark coat, holding a flashlight. Calm. Daniel froze. Who are you? The man smiled faintly. It's me, Dan. You don't remember? The light hit his face. Daniel's heart skipped. Rico? His old friend from university. They had studied engineering together. He hadn't seen Rico in years not. Since the job offers started rolling in. Rico had taken one with a private company. A big one. Draytech. Daniel's voice was cold. What are you doing down here? Rico didn't answer right away. He stepped closer. I could ask you the same, Dan, but I already know. Daniel took a step back. You're following me? No, Rico said. I'm trying to help you. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Help me like your company helped Neera's planet. Rico's face changed. Not guilt, not regret. Just tiredness. You don't understand what you're involved in. I didn't plan any of this, Daniel said. I just helped a mother. And a sick kid. Rico's tone sharpened. That kid isn't just a refugee. He's something else. Something dangerous. Draytech isn't the only one looking for him anymore. Daniel blinked. What do you mean? There are others. Rico said. Other powers. Shadow groups. Even off-world watchers. Keel is not just a child. She's a memory carrier. A living recorder. The fire that destroyed his planet. It didn't kill his mind. Daniel's voice dropped. You knew all this? Rico nodded. And I came here to warn you. Draytech wants the child alive, but they'll destroy anything around him if needed. And if others find him first... You didn't finish the sentence. Daniel felt like the air had thickened. He whispered, Are you helping me? Or helping them? Rico looked away. I told them I could talk to you. Convince you to hand the child over peacefully. Daniel clenched his fists. And if I don't? Rico met his eyes. They'll send the real teams. No more silent drones. No more warnings. Silence stretched between them. Then Daniel said softly, Get out of my way. Dan, I said move. Rico stepped aside slowly. If you change your mind, I'll be waiting. But be careful. You're in deeper than... You know? Daniel ran back through the tunnels, back to the chamber. But when he reached it, it was empty. And IRA and Keel were gone. The mat was cold. The air was still. On the wall, someone had written a word in alien script, and under it, in rough English, scratched into the metal, they found us. Daniel felt panic crawl into his chest. He turned, ready to run again, but something stopped. A sound. A low hum from the air itself, and then a whisper. Not Keel, not Neera, something older. Come find us. Daniel. And then the wall behind him flickered. A symbol appeared, drawn in light, burning gently. He had seen it before. In the file. Years ago, a secret project symbol. Project Omega. A memory rushed back blueprints, strange energy studies, and a name. Hybrid Codex. Keel wasn't just a target. He was the last key. Daniel stood in the dark. Heart pounding, thoughts racing. Nero was gone. Keel was taken, and the people he once trusted had lied about everything. Now, he had a choice. Run and hide. Or chase the truth, no matter what it cost. The memory came from a smell. Burnt copper. Daniel stood in the silent chamber, staring at the glowing symbol left behind. The strange mark shimmered in the air, floating just above the wall. Alien. Like human shape. And that smell, it dragged him back. To a time 3 years ago. A forgotten night at the power station. He had been cleaning old servers when he found a hidden folder on the company's backup system. It was called Omega. He remembered opening one file. It was just a logo. A triangle inside a circle, glowing. White. The same shape now burned in front of him. He hadn't understood it then. He did now. They were never just mining alien planets. They were taking something else, something living. Daniel grabbed a metal rod, smashed the panel on the wall, and pulled out an old transmitter. It still worked. He turned it on and spoke. Max, it's me. Code. Dust Cellar. I need access to the deep net, and I need it now. A crackling voice answered after 5 seconds. Daniel? What the hell are you? Wait, why are you using that code? That was deactivated. It's active now, Daniel said. Find everything you can on Project Omega. Anything from Draytech archives, deep files, black zones, especially files marked hybrid codex. Jesus. Okay, give me 20 minutes. Daniel killed the signal and took a deep breath. He had once lived quietly. The kicks wires. Ate instant noodles. Now. He was running from machines and hunting the truth. All because he had listened to a cry in the dark. Above ground, in Draytech's main control tower, Revel Trent stood in front of a glass wall, watching the sky. He didn't blink. Behind him, a scientist read off a screen. Sir, we've isolated the child's signal again. It's unstable, but traceable. Alive? Ravel asked. Yes, sir, but he's changed. Ravel turned slowly. How? The scientist gulped. His brain waves are no longer measurable. He doesn't read like a child anymore. He reads like a device. Ravel's eyes narrowed. Then activate phase 2. Get the codex vault ready. We don't have much time. If his memory's unlocked before extraction. We lose control. In the tunnels below, Daniel heard the transmitter beep. Max was back. Okay, Dan, listen close. Omega isn't just a project. It's a cover-up. Daniel's grip tightened. Project Omega started after Draytech's first energy harvest on alien worlds. They found something underground. A structure. Not natural, Ganu whispered. A ship? No. Older. It was organic. Grown. Not built. Inside were mind crystals. Pure memory storage. But they couldn't read them. Not without a hybrid key. Daniel's heart dropped. Keel. Exactly, Max said. Keel's DNA wasn't an accident. Someone made him. Mixed human code with alien memory strands. That child isn't just sick. He's carrying the last thoughts of a dead civilization. Daniel stepped back. Then, why is he dying? Because the body can't hold it, Max said. The more it unlocks, the more unstable he becomes. The company plans to extract everything before he burns out. Daniel felt sick, so they'll let him die. As long as they get the data. That's how Omega works. Daniel was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "Where's the vault?" Max hesitated. Dan, that place is off-grid. Buried under the Arctic sector. You'll never get close. I'm not trying to get close, Daniel said. I'm going inside. That night, Daniel changed. He didn't sleep. He wired a stolen map to his old tablet. Built a thermal scrambler, packed protein cubes, and charged 2 EMP darts. The last thing he packed was a an old, faded picture of him and his younger sister, smiling. She had died years ago, in a fire caused by a faulty system. Draytech had called it worker error. Now he understood. They had always played with lives. Now it was his turn. To play with fire. In a distant cryolab, cold white lights flickered on. Keel floated in the glass tank. Conscious. Machines issue ed. IRA, bruised and bleeding, was locked. Behind a clear wall, screaming silently, and far above them, a voice echoed through the intercom. Begin memory sync. Codex extraction in 3, 2, 1. But deep inside Keel's glowing eyes, something had awakened. Not pain. Not fear. A memory. A vision of burning stars. Voices older than Earth. Of a warning left in light. If they open the vault, they open the end. The dream wasn't his. Daniel was running through a burning forest. The sky was purple. The ground was made of glass. And above him floated a giant shape. A glowing figure with no face, whispering words in a language he didn't know. But somehow understood. Memory must live. He woke with a jolt. Sweat on his neck. No forest. No fire. Just cold metal. Rattling beneath his boots. He was on a cargo train, speeding north. Straight into the Arctic zone. Into Draytech's hidden vault. His breath fogged in the air. The sky outside was white and endless. No people. No laws. Only ice. Daniel checked the stolen ID badge again. It had a photo of a dead technician and the name foreign. He wasn't proud of what he did to get it. But time had run out. They were going to kill Keel. Worse, they were going to drain him like a battery. Take every thought, every vision, and erase what was left. And Nira, if she was still alive, they'd use her as leverage. Daniel pressed a small earpiece. Max, Ken, you hear me? Static. Then a voice. Barely. Arctic jammers are strong. You're close to Vault 17. 1 mile. He's in the lower sector. Daniel whispered. How long do I have? Maybe 2 hours before full codex sync begins. That wasn't enough, but it would have to be far below ground. Keel floated in the glass tank. His eyes were half open. White light leaked from them in slow pulses. Around the tank, scientists in clean suits moved like shadows, writing notes, checking levels. Above them. Ravel Trent watched through a black screen. Begin memory extraction, he said. Nira screamed. From behind the glass wall, her voice was gone, but her eyes burned with rage. Keel's small body began to shake. The machines hummed louder. And in the vault's deep power core, a strange crystal structure began to glow. Something not built by humans. Something alive. Daniel reached the outer gates by foot, using the blizzard as cover. The vault was carved into a mountain. No windows, no roads, no signs. Just one guarded elevator and a scanner station. He crouched behind a ridge, heart pounding. One last chance. He whispered. Sorry, Rico. Then he pulled the EMA dart from his pack and aimed at the guard post. Click. Thrum. The lights blinked out. Sirens started. Daniel ran. He crashed through the door, swiped the stolen badge, and entered the lift. The doors slid shut behind him. He was in. No, turning back now. In the control room, alarms rang. Breach in Sector 1. Someone shouted. Ravel didn't move. He just stared at Keel on the monitor. Let them come. He'll see it. In the end, you'll see everything. Keel's glow grew brighter. Inside his mind, images played like storms. Planets burning, cities flying, voices crying, and one voice, clear, soft, Daniel's voice. We'll get you out. Keel's eyes snapped open. The glass around him cracked. Daniel ran through metal corridors. Following Max's map. Security bots turned corners. He ducked, rolled, slid under pipes. He was bleeding, breathing hard. But he kept going. He reached. A locked door marked Sector 4B. Bio-isolation. He planted his charge. Boom. Smokes. Sparks? Then a scream. Not from pain. From hope. Mira. She ran to him from her cell. Her wrists were bruised, her face pale, but her spirit was alive. Where is he? Daniel asked. She pointed. Below us. They started already. You have to stop them. I will, he said. She grabbed his arm. You're not just helping us anymore, she said. Now, you're part of this. Daniel looked at her. For once, he believed it. He dropped into the final chamber. Eel was alone in the glass tank. Lights blinking red. Countdown on the wall. Sync level 93%. Daniel didn't wait. He grabbed a crowbar and slammed it into the tank's seal. The machine fought back. Metal arms shot forward, shocking him. He screamed, but didn't. Stop. One more hit. Crack. The glass shattered. The water burst out. Keel fell into his arms, glowing, breathing fast. Then he whispered, You came. Daniel smiled through blood. Of course I did. The vault shook. The power crystal in the walls lit up bright blue. And then Keel screamed. Not in pain. In memory. The room exploded in light. Every machine shorted. Every screen cracked. Far away. In his tower, Ravel fell to the ground. On every screen in the Arctic base, a single image appeared. A map. Of Earth, and a voice echoed across every system. You have awakened the codex. It began with a heartbeat, but it didn't come from a chest. It came from the walls. Deep in the vault, under the Arctic ice. The metal structure throbbed like it was alive. Lights pulsed in rhythm. Machines shut down. Cold wind crept through cracks that were never meant to open. And in the middle of it all stood Daniel, his arms wrapped around a glowing child. Keel was no longer just a boy. He was something more. His eyes, once soft silver, now burned bright gold. His skin flickered between light and shadow. His small body floated slightly above the ground, weightless, calm, dangerous. Around him, the codex had awakened, not a file, not a weapon, but a living archive. Memory in its purest form. Keel was the final bridge between two civilizations. One destroyed, one blind, and the humans had almost erased it all, until one of them listened. Above them, sirens screamed. The vault had triggered Omega Protocol, full lockdown, AI purge, satellite sweep. Ravel Trent, bleeding from a console. Blasts, screamed into a broken mic. Terminate the child. Burn the vault, now. But no one answered. All systems had been overtaken. By Keel. Inside Daniel's ears, a voice whispered, I see you, Daniel. I see your memories too. Daniel stood, blinking through the glow. Keel? The child turned his head slowly. You lost someone. A sister. She burned because of a broken system. I remember it now, because you do. Daniel's voice shook. I didn't want this. I just wanted to help. And that's why you were chosen. The vault floor split open. From deep beneath, a platform rose. On it, a sphere. Black, smooth, humming. The seat of the seat. X. Nira stepped into the light, limping. Her face was full of fear and awe. That's what they were looking for. The source. Keel floated toward it. If I touch it, I become it. Daniel grabbed his arm. And what happens to you? Keel smiled softly. I don't know. Daniel shook his head. No, that's not fair. Was your sister's death fair? Daniel's heart twisted. Keel touched the sphere. For a moment, silence. Then everything changed. Above the earth, satellites blinked and died. War drones stopped in midair. Power grids rebooted with strange symbols no one understood. On every screen, across every city, a message appeared. You buried voices in fire. One human heard them. We remember. Humans panicked. Governments blamed each other. But in the refugee zones, aliens wept because they recognized the language. The codex had returned, and it was forgiving. In the vault, the light faded. Keel lay still in Daniel's arms, eyes closed. He wasn't glowing anymore. He looked small again. Daniel held him tighter. Keel? Hey, stay with me. Keel's eyes fluttered open. I'm still here, he whispered. Daniel smiled, eyes full of tears. You scared me, kid. I scared everyone, Keel replied with a weak grin. Dropped to her knees, hugging them both. I thought I lost you. Keel looked at Daniel. You didn't? He found me? A week later, the world was different. Draytech collapsed. Secret files leaked. War crimes exposed. Humans started asking questions. Some even listened. Keel and Nira were taken to a new sanctuary. Safe, hidden, protected. Daniel was offered rewards, medals, interviews. He turned them all down. He just wanted quiet. But sometimes, at night, he would walk to the edge of the city and look up at the stars and remember the day he heard a cry and chose to care. Because in a galaxy full of silence, fear, and fire, sometimes all it takes is one human who listens. Just one. The one who dared.